Have you ever wondered why kids are so disoriented nowadays, or why they're turning out the way they are? Now, I'm a middle-aged man, and for those that don't know what that is, it's when you actually feel like you're going to get better in the morning. And if I compare these kids' world to my world when I was in high school, I'm not surprised that they struggle the way they do. So I'm Joseph, I'm your engineer here at work to help you and your family on your way to success. And right now in this video, I'm going to reverse engineer the academic side of our society and address what schools can do right now to help this younger generation out. So right now, high schools require courses in 4 main categories. So these main categories include math, which includes geometry, algebra, and statistics. The second category includes history, which is social studies and geography. The third category is English and literature, and the fourth category is science, which includes physics, chemistry, and biology. Now, I'm going to list 7 additional classes that I think high school should be offering nationwide for this young generation in this very complex world that they live in. And in my opinion, I think that they'll be more important to this young generation than even these core classes. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, the first on my list is business. And many high schools offer business, but many of these courses focus in on projects or what the teacher expects, which I think is superfluous. Instead of worrying about whether kids are cheating and finger painting, the class should actually be focused on making mistakes and learning that mistakes are the pathway to success. That is, as long as you keep trying. So instead of being graded on success, I think the kids should be graded on effort, and I mean that genuinely. And the teacher should coach and guide the students through the business development process, which includes obtaining licenses or obtaining a patent, and financial options like fundraising or loans, and focusing in on contracts and the hiring process. They should also focus on getting into the market where there's more demand and less competition. So this would give kids a huge leap in their life in starting their own business, in which you probably know starting your own business can get you wealthy way faster than anything else. Now, the second class that I would recommend is the study of religions. Now, hear me out. No matter if you're spiritual or not, religions play a huge role in worldwide politics and relationships, and to create unity and understanding, you have to know what someone believes and understand where they're coming from. So if we taught our kids this would be a huge bridge builder in developing foreign relations and in creating world peace. On a more local level, this would create way more unity and peace in our local communities because they would be more respectful and open and understanding of those that live around them that don't believe or feel as they do. The third class is budgeting, and some schools provide this, which I applaud them for, but really it should be included in mathematics even before algebra and geometry, because no matter what field a kid goes into, he's going to have a bank account and he has to be able to budget that to live and survive. He's also going to have to deal with mortgages, taxes, credit cards, and so forth. So this class should focus in on credit cards, focus in on how to build that credit score, focus in on mortgages, how to make a payment, how to establish a really good mortgage for themselves to save lots of money in the long run, and putting your money in different savings accounts, whether that's high yield or not, how inflation works, taxes, how to invest, stocks, dividends, and really just general economics. You know, money, what is it? And how does it work? These are all very important skills for anybody that's going to live on their own. And at the end of the year, if the school so desires, they can go on a trip to Washington, D.C. There, the teachers can visit their money. The fourth class that I would recommend to schools is political diversity. So this class would be about expressing and hearing open dialogue on important political issues. And the teacher's responsibility would be helping each side to understand and listen to each other. So essentially, this class would be about establishing 2 skill sets in our younger generation. First of all, being able to listen and understand the opposing point of view until the opposing side feels understood. And then at that point, those students can clearly articulate and express their point of view. See, think about how many people do not have these 2 skills in our society. And that's what's causing a fracture in our society between 2 different parties. Have you ever wondered why it's always 2 parties? Why is that? Bob Hope once said that one party can't fool everyone all the time, so you have to have 2 parties. He further went on to say that the only time that they have their hands in their own pockets is when it's cold outside. Anyways, I digress. On to the 5th class that I recommend for schools, and that is mental health. This is clearly a plague in our modern society, and it's facilitated by smartphones and social media. Parents have no idea what kids are facing today, Kids are faced with temptation, and kids can resist anything but temptation. So this class would open up a dialogue for kids to talk about what struggles they're facing. And the class would go into detail about the different platforms that the kids are on in their social media spheres. One of the ideas of the class is to teach the kids that social media is not real, and that the way that other kids portray themselves on social media is not really how their life is. Furthermore, in the class, the kids would be taught how to behave and associate over social media in an appropriate way. And in addition to that, to be aware of predators that use those platforms to get to the kids and get them to give important sensitive information to them, such as location and so forth, that can compromise their safety. So in other words, the kids will be taught about red flags that they can look for when interacting with others on social media. Now, I think it would be very important for the class to go into details about evaluating their screen time, whether that's whenever they wake up in the morning or when they go to bed, or maybe during dinner time or during times when they should be having social interactions, but instead they're glued to their phone. And what can be taught in the class is the effects of screen time on sleep deprivation and why the youth are never tired. You'll never be tired unless you stop and make time for it. And last of all, the class would teach kids about the psychological effects on the brain in relation to compulsive patterns, and how explicit behavior can lead to humiliation or blackmail, and ultimately how isolation can lead to depression. So in the class, I think it would be very important to teach them coping mechanisms such as like walking out in nature or setting time limits on their phones, and having conversations in person rather than texting, messaging, and Snapchat. Now, the sixth class that I would recommend is auto and home maintenance. Now, I know a lot of schools have auto classes, but I would also implement the home maintenance. Everybody needs to understand how to fix and repair utilities and things like that in their homes. So the subjects would include AC units, replacing the filters on AC units, repairing toilets, studying the design of water heaters, maintaining them, cleaning them, repairing them, drywall patching, landscaping, and dealing with electrical repairs like plugs and even the electrical box outside. And honestly, I would include culinary arts combined with nutrition in this class because it's so critical in everyday living. Too few know how to eat healthy, let alone the bad effects of not eating healthy. And I'm noticing the diminishing cooking skills among the younger generation. They're too impatient to wait for a nice, warm, hot cooked meal. Instead, they like mac and cheese or a Hot Pocket with preservatives. Those seem to be their favorite. And lastly, I would recommend for the seventh class, marriage and relationships. I find it odd that marriage is the central part of the establishment of our society, and yet kids don't even have any preparation for it. Now, as far as the sexual aspect goes, parents really need to do their job in teaching their kids that stuff. We should not leave that responsibility to the schools. Parents need to at least own up to this and do their job. So there. Sorry about the tangent, I just had to get that out. But to go on about what would be included in this class, it would be about the struggles within a marriage, including miscommunication, learning how to listen, and learning how to be parents, which includes proper treatment of like a baby when that comes along. And really, what to expect in a marriage and how to work through arguments. In the class, if done properly, would go into the needs of both men and women, within reason, and talk about the ultimate need of everyone to be loved. I'd even recommend going into the book called 5 Love Languages to tackle the different kinds of love that people receive and give. So for example, kissing. For some reason, we all have this need to place our lips on other people's food smackers. And if you have bad breath, you'll know because people will start throwing them at you instead of giving them. Either that's the reason or they're just hopelessly lazy. Anyways, this class could never cover all the complexities of a relationship, but at least it'll start covering the basics. I'd also encourage the teacher to help the kids see through a single parent's perspective and how difficult that would be to provide for the family, take care of the home, clean the home, take care of the kids, parent them, and teach them and put them to bed and then get them up and feed them. That would be so hard as a parent, and they need to understand that. So for what it's worth, that's my 7 classes to incorporate into high school. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you got any value out of this video at all, please subscribe to my channel as I reverse engineer a lot more things to come. And if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment below, and I will see you next time.